Madam Dancho, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the witnesses for being with us today. Regarding the specific allegations reported in the Globe and Mail from CSIS documents that Beijing was responsible for illegal cash donations, tax receipts, and hiring campaign workers using illegal methods, as well as disinformation campaigns in the 2021 election. This information from CSIS would have been shared with our Five Eyes intelligence allies. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, as I mentioned earlier, I would not be in a position to comment specifically on these allegations, this information. What I can say, however, is that indeed CSIS and our intelligence partners do share information extensively with international partners. This foreign interference, amongst other threats, is one that is shared by many countries. The PRC specifically and other countries are engaging in foreign interference in other countries. And one of the advantage we have is having a number of countries in not only amongst the Five Eyes, but more broadly in Western Europe, in Asia, in the Middle East. We work very closely with these partners to share information. And that is one way we have to protect Canadians, is to benefit from the enriched picture here.
It was also, pardon me, it was also reported that a Consul General of Beijing took credit for the defeat of a Conservative MP in the 2021 election. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, I would unfortunately have to reiterate my answer. I cannot specifically confirm some of the information that is in the public domain in this current setting.
This has been asked, but I'll ask again. Was the Prime Minister briefed of any of this information, and when would that have been? What would have been the dates?
Madam Chair, we will be, as I in answer to the previous question, we endeavored to be able to provide information to the working with PCO to this committee in terms of what has been briefed and who has been briefed, but I'm not in a position to specifically answer the question.
Thank you, Mr. Vigneault, and I appreciate your service to this country, but I am surprised. Of course, you were all aware that you were coming to this committee today, and I know you all take, I'm sure, very detailed notes in your calendar, so I'm a bit surprised that that information is not readily available to committee members, as I'm sure you anticipated the questions of when the Prime Minister would or would not have been briefed by you or others in CSIS, but I would appreciate if you would provide that in short order to the committee. Thank you. To the RCMP, has CSIS shared any of this information regarding election interference with you?
Any sharing of information would have been done through the site committee, and then if it falls into the criminal space, the RCMP would investigate.
And you're not investigating?
We're not investigating any elements from the 2019 or the 2021 elections. We did not receive any actionable intelligence that would warrant us to initiate a criminal investigation.
So no charges have been laid to anyone concerning any election interference, is that correct?
No charges have been laid.
And no charges have been laid concerning the Beijing police stations illegally operating in Canada for the purpose of terrorizing Chinese Canadians? No charges have been laid in that regard either?
No, but the RCMP has taken overt action on 4 specific sites where we were present in uniform, marked vehicles to demonstrate to the community that we're taking this seriously, and we've had a positive impact on the actions that we've taken.
And that positive impact in particular, does that mean that the operations from those illegal Beijing police stations have ceased?
Our understanding is that they've ceased, and we're continuing our investigation of the ongoing. Anytime you have a representative from the embassy who's a law enforcement liaison officer comes up to us and not pleased with the actions we took, I think that's a sign that we did our job.
I appreciate your work very much in that regard. Yesterday, I believe it was shared in committee from the Deputy of Minister of Public Safety that legislative changes would need to be made, or he implied that they would need to be made for charges to be laid. Is that correct? That legislative changes would need to be made for the RCMP to lay charges. Is that correct?
When we talk about legislative changes, the RCMP operates in the criminal environment, and this is the work that Michelle alluded to earlier, my colleague, with regards to the work we do with the service. The service is in the intel business, but as the intel starts building towards a criminal offense, that's when it's shifted to the RCMP. So we work with the existing legislation that we have under the criminal code.
Thank you. Would a change to the criminal code be needed to lay charges based on the evidence that you have concerning the police stations or election interference?
We always entertain new tools under the code.
Has the Minister of Public Safety or anybody from government, the Prime Minister's office, been briefed that legislative changes would need to be made for charges to be laid?
Not to my knowledge.
None of those briefings have happened?
I'm saying not to my knowledge.
Okay, so the RCMP has not informed the Prime Minister or any of his cabinet that legislative changes are needed for charges to be laid?
The RCMP will go
confirm.
through public safety for any change in legislation.
Will you be pursuing any
you.
of those brief? Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for your feedback.
Excellent. And this brings us to Mr. Fergus.
Thank you very much, Madam